Welcome to Piercing the Veil with Mad Hatter, Milk Maid, and West. Go ahead, Milk Maid.
Okay. This has to do with 2 posts, 790 and several after that one. And it has to do with the shutdown that we just encountered and the 21 days that President Trump gave basically Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to come up with an agreed upon deal. It's supposed to end on February 15th. Now, 790, I don't think a lot of it has to do with what I'm talking about, but the last couple of lines in it might. We also, these are from February 18th, 2018, and if we go back into January or early part of January when Q was posting after Christmas, he said that their timeline is 2 days ahead of time. Does everybody remember that?
Yes.
Okay. So these are dated February 18th. If you take 2 days back, you go back to the 16th. And on an assumption that a contract is due up on, I would say, midnight of the 15th, the 16th becomes the active day after the contract was due. That's how I would take it. So if we can agree on that, I'll move forward.
Yeah, I will add in real quick. Trump did a press conference today. I don't know if you watched it. And he did state in the press conference that if Nancy does not bring him an appropriate proposal by the 15th, that whatever she does bring him, he's not even going to bother reading it. And he said he has no problem shutting the government down for years. He's not giving any leeway in this.
I'm thrilled. It can't happen fast enough.
Yeah.
I realize a lot of people are going to be out of work, but he has made a lot of jobs in the private sector. And in my book, they should have gone, the minute they were furloughed, they should have been looking for jobs in the private sector. And I do believe I yelled that a few times in Discord.
Well, the last time I looked, according to the government, there's actually 3.2, I believe, million more jobs right now than there are people to fill them. And if you figure with the government, they had so many useless agencies. And, you used to hear Reagan and Bush talk about trimming the pork. And that's exactly what it is. And whenever they did the shutdown, I feel sorry for those people to a degree. I mean, I feel empathy for them. But knowing that many of them didn't really do their job anyway, because they knew there was really no threat of being fired. Karma. But
yeah, now they can go find a job on merit.
Right, that they actually have to go to work and not just go sit on their rear end and gather a paycheck and a pension, on our dime, and then also stick their political views. When it conflicts with their job, it's something politically is asked of them, well, it doesn't, align with them. So I'm just going to go ahead and slow walk this, or it gets lost in the mail somewhere. Yeah, those people need to go.
Yeah. So anyway,
I'm going to add my 2 cents in here.
Absolutely, please.
I do not feel sorry for those workers. I'm sorry, I do not. They make more than anybody in the private sector. And they knew it was coming. They should have put some money away. And they should have polished up their resumes and started looking for other work, because it will come. They will be gone, and they will have to look.
Well, RIFs have already begun. But you look at the private sector, you look at any one of us. If we've ever gotten laid off in the past, or even threatened of being laid off, the very first thing we start doing is lining our ducks up and finding something else. And I think a lot of them have been so spoiled for however many years of doing nothing. I mean, good Lord, go to any government agency and see what type of customer service you get. They could care less whether you're there or not. They're still pulling a paycheck. Well, guess what? Now they got to go and work just like the rest of us. RIFs are already in the process. And so, say come sa, whatever, I don't care. Goodbye.
Well, that and through the IR or RIF, they can also hire back the people they want to keep, and they can let go of the ones they don't.
Right. Well, they were talking to some insiders, and they said one of the reasons for the shutdown was to show the public that the government could successfully run on essential employees. And run is exactly what it did. And they were saying they were actually getting done 10 times more of the work, the appointments, the memo, everything without this, without all the rest of these idiots working. And
Oh yeah,
they don't need them.
it got lost on my desk.
Yeah, they don't need these people. So,
Right.
you know, they got to go. I mean, all of us have been in that situation at one time or another. I mean, it sucks, but you know, we pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and we move on and we find something else, you know, that's more appropriate. And so maybe Hillary can go work at Popeyes or something.
What's their average pay? I mean, roughly $100,000 a year, give or take.
Roughly. And then the stupid Congress is trying to give them a raise on top of that. Hell no.
I mean, you know, the thing is on $100,000 a year, or, you know, 160, which is what we've seen some of the SAS makes. I don't see why they didn't have a savings account. I don't really understand them living paycheck to paycheck. And one lady who couldn't buy tampons, excuse me, you're not a woman if you don't have a 6-month supply.
Exactly.
Okay? You just don't do that.
Oh my
So,
goodness. Did you use
I could see
the
military families doing that because they don't get paid nearly as much. But to turn around and try to vote them in another raise, ain't happening.
well, the military is a totally different story, and so is our law enforcement and our ICE agents and all that or our border patrol that we're not getting paid. That was a big issue to me. But
Right.
those guys, men and women, all came to the table and they all went to work every day.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure the older guys that did have savings pitched in and helped the younger guys get by.
There was a congressman that is a veteran. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. But
Dan Crenshaw.
yes, the same day that President Trump opened the government back up was the same day he was starting in line. I think it was in Florida. I'm not sure which state he was in, but he was going to start receiving donations for these families, and that would have been a good thing. But
he's also the same guy that suspended his own paycheck
right.
for the entirety of the shutdown. He said that, you know, if these other people aren't getting paid, he shouldn't need to be bringing a paycheck on too. So we have one of these congressmen.
Boy, but Pelosi and Schumer sure took their paychecks, didn't they?
Yeah, and I know this is a bit off topic. I'm just going to steer us for like 5 seconds, but this is really the state of the world and how sad it is. Ben Sasse will push a born alive abortion survivor protection act in the Senate. Now, is that not sad that you have to have a born alive abortion survivor protection act?
Okay, you're gonna set me off, right?
No, Dan Bongino just tweeted this.
Okay, I'm gonna go on my rant now.
Okay.
Goodbye to you.
This is my opinion, and I'm not saying that anybody else here believes this but me, but I'm going to go off on this because, like I was talking to Mad Hatter this morning, we are a nation of God. We were conceived because of God. Where in the hell did we get off?
We didn't.
Our own children. Where? Where is God in all of this? It's gone. And why? I'm sorry, it hurts my soul to have these babies born and then killed. That is so wrong. There are people out there in this country that want to adopt. I would take one of those children. I would raise one of those children even at my age. How dare them? How dare our government do this?
I don't believe that they're actually killing them. I think they're doing something far worse with them.
I think they're donating their organs, and I think it's part of the whole thing with I'm sorry, I'm mad, but
It's okay. And Anon had a good point on all of that. I'll read you what he wrote real quickly. It's real short. And the Anon wrote, he said, "My fear is that they don't want to kill babies. They are too greedy. A baby that's legally dead with no social security number, no missing persons report, no one missing / looking for him / her is too valuable to them. The law makes the process and the paperwork legal, but it may not actually get carried out physically. Are the moms asleep, drugged? Is it a live delivery? Now they have a baby and no one is asking questions. Nightmare scenario for that child. This must be stopped."
Oh my God. That hits it right on the head, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
because if you think about it, then you refer back to Q, and he's talking about all these countries that have been shut down from human trafficking. They're going to need to find new avenues to get babies, kids, people, and that anon makes total sense. I mean, it really, as sad as that is. But the other thing that's sad about the abortion, it's not bad enough that you have an abortion, but then you brag about it. Like what's that that older chick in Hollywood, is it Steinem, whoever it is, did a magazine cover with her "I had an abortion" t-shirt on, and she had her fingers raised up. I think it was 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that. Abortions, and she was saying how proud she was that she had an abortion. That's a sick bitch.
Okay.
Why doesn't she just keep her legs closed?
Because the government doesn't
You're
require
going where
them.
I was going to go. We have women in the 40s and 50s that were shamed if they got pregnant. Okay. Yes. And we created, this country has birth control. There's birth control for men. There's several types of birth control for women. Why in the hell are they using abortion for birth control?
On our
no
tax
need.
dollar.
There's no need for it.
Yeah, because
Planned Parenthood does not do anything but abortions.
right.
They're not any place to go get medical help when you're pregnant.
Nope.
Go to an OBGYN. There's plenty of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And you know what? And there's people out there that want to have children, want to adopt. The adoption process is horrendous, and they can't have children. They want to adopt, and they want to either kill these babies or use them for a nefarious purpose from the moment they're born. Sorry.
Well, it's like the meme that I was telling West about earlier. And the meme just simply said, how good would the world be if the government spent half its money that they're spending on abortions on adoptions? And, you know, I would be in the same boat as West. I would be more than happy to take a child into my house. I mean, if it would have saved that child from anything, I have no issue with that. I wouldn't even think twice. But now, you know, when West brought up the 40s and 50s, that kind of triggered something with me. You know, you listen to a lot of these libs, and this has not been over the past 2 years, but over the past 20 years. You know, how many times have you ever heard, "Oh my God, it's not the 40s, it's not the 50s, it's not the 60s"? No, it's not. Well, let's go back to the 40s and 50s. Let's look at the family unit in the 40s and the 50s. Okay, mom was happy as pie to stay home and do her thing. She wasn't needed out in the workforce. If they needed to go out to the workforce or she wanted to, she did. If not, she was a home mom. You know, it was just a normal family unit. The dad was not out working so he could put the mother down and make her feel like she was this, that, or the other. That was just when I was growing up, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. We never once thought about mom working. Mom did enough at home between PTA meetings and making cupcakes and cleaning, you know, I mean, but you look
cleaning the house, doing the laundry, folding the socks, getting you guys off to school, making you lunches, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dinner was on the table when Dad got home from work.
And it was hot.
The family sat down together and had conversation. What did you do at school today, honey?
Yep. When we used to sit down in my family, when we sat down for dinner, I can always remember my dad grabbing the remote and leaning over and going click and turn the TV off. And the TV stayed off until we got done having dinner. But just look at simple things. You know, let's look at how many school shootings we had back then. You know,
None.
look at the whole culture. I mean, even when I was in high school, even when y'all were in high school, us guys, we used to bring guns in our cars. We had them on our gun racks in our truck. Everybody had a gun rack. And guess what? None of us ever even entertained the thought of shooting someone, hurting someone. They were for squirrel and deer and whatever else, target practice. But we never, I mean, it never entered our minds.
Mad Hatter, I don't think these school shootings are what they're made out to be. I am not saying people haven't died. I am saying I do not.
I think that they're
for 1
playing.
minute, these school shootings are what they're made out to be. It's all about the gun grab. I think it's all set up from the deep state. I think all of it's been designed as a gun grab, and they're killing our people just to take our guns. And you know, whether you own them or not, you have the right. And they're going after all the rights. I understood something about Nancy Pelosi, or was either Pelosi or Feinstein that was starting to go after the First Amendment.
Well, First Amendment's freedom.
Oh, well,
Second
you
Amendment.
really want to go there?
Ocasio Cortez actually had a quote the other day, and she said that having a gun is not a right. If it were a right, then it would have been included into the Constitution. Okay? This is the dumbass that people supposedly elected to lead their state.
Oh God, I gotta have that quote.
Oh, look it up. It's all over the internet. There's so many memes about that now. It's ridiculous.
I gotta have that quote.
That's like whenever they asked her who she thought should be the Speaker of the House. She said Bose, because Bose makes the best speakers. This woman is clueless. Absolutely.
Hey, I'd rather have Bose than Pelosi.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that dirtbag right there, Pelosi. Yeah, I would rather have both.
Well, she's just a spawn from hell. That's all she is.
She's a drunk. You can tell. She slurs her words. She can't figure out what she's talking about half the time. And the other half the time, it's just to degrade the president, and that's it.
Oh, hey, speaking of drunks, did you notice POTUS doesn't drink, right? And we all know why. This is his older brother.
Right.
Okay. But if you noticed, Elizabeth Warren got me a beer on Instagram. Okay. Right. And then there was another woman on, I want to say The View, and I don't watch it. All I saw was a clip, but it was, she was either running for president or one of our senators or something like that. And she said, I've got to have more wine over that. Whatever it was, she was going to go hit the wine bottle because it upset her.
Now, weren't they trying to crucify Kavanaugh over the exact same thing? But it's okay.
Over having a couple of beers with his buddies in college.
But it's okay for them, right? They're grown-ass adults, been in Congress for how many years? And it's okay for them. You see, and that's one of the things that the right and the Republicans are not real happy with. And I'm sure there's some Democrats somewhere out there that aren't happy with it either. The fairness under the law. If it's bad for me to do it, it's bad for you to do it. Period.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter how much money you make, what color you are, what gender, what sex. It doesn't matter. They want equal fairness under the law, and that's
the only reason why they reversed prohibition is because they wanted to drink.
Right.
No, they figured they could tax it.
Oh yeah, and
once they learned they could tax it and make money on it, then it was okay.
Well, yeah, that's.
What do you think they've done with marijuana? Yeah. I mean, there's two reasons that they legalized marijuana. Marijuana's getting legalized all over the world right now. Why? There's two reasons. If you legalize it, you can tax it, and it messes with your brain and makes young people stay stupid. Basically, in a nutshell.
Supposedly it keeps them home. Huh. No, if you need marijuana and you're going through cancer and stuff like that, there's CBD oil and all that other stuff. It's really
I
good.
don't have a problem with it for medical reasons, but for recreational use, for young people, when their brains aren't fully developed and everything else, and they're brainless anyway, when they're young, they have a lot to learn still. I don't think that it's good for them.
No.
But that's just me. I'm an old fogey. I believe in something a little cleaner. So.
So are we going to move on to 791?
Sure. Actually, we really didn't say too much about 790. The last 3 lines define the end. The day of reckoning is upon us. John 3:16. Q. And then he goes on to 791. Again, it's on February 18th. If we go back 2 days, that puts us on the 16th, which is the day after the shutdown. Not the shutdown, but the day after his 21-day, I would call it a pardon for temporary pardon for Pelosi and Schumer. Oh, you like that, did you?
Yeah, I did.
A stay.
I can't wait to go to Gitmo.
We could call it a temporary stay of execution.
Yeah, exactly.
For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Protect 6:14:46. Protect 6:14:46. Q plus. Now, if you go to the header on 791, it says protect POTUS marker in parentheses. DJT, born June 14th, 1946, which translates to 6/14/46. I don't know. I've lost count of how many times they've had an assassination attempt. There's a lot of rumors that there's Q posts that pertain to it. Every time they say, what was the name of that, As the World Turns, that soap opera, that there was another an attempt on his life, but we don't know how many there have been. They keep it very, very quiet. So I would say that they're after him. We already know that. I would say that come the 15th, they're going to really be after him. So I hope he's protected. And all of these posts have to do with the February 15th, the close of that time frame he gave them, I believe. So 792, again, says protect POTUS marker. It was dropped on February 18th at 6:07 and 39 seconds p.m. So that would be 18:07:39. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. Interesting. Maybe somebody on the Chan boards can look at the numbers. Received, confirmed, good, Q. That tells me something was sent and something was received. It was confirmed. All's good. Then we go to the freedom flag on, what's the post number there? I can't see it.
Are you going to go to the freedom flag? It's 796.
Well, no. We missed 93, 94, 95 because they're on my screen. They're not in the right place. Thank you.
Welcome.
These were all dropped in February 18th, and let's see, they were all dropped in the 6 o'clock hour, the 6 p.m. hour, which is 1800 hours. So 793, they're all short. Say, go with God. The clock is activated. Gee, do you think that has anything to do with the Q clock?
Yep.
So we should be looking at the Q clock for the 18th and going back to the 16th just to see what's there. Clean action approved, highest authority. When I read these, the first thing that came to my mind was that's his executive order. Clean action approved. It's clean because he's given them all kinds of chances to do the right thing and they refuse to do it. The highest authority is the president's executive orders. At least I think so. The next one, 795, for God and country. And then he repeats that on 796 with the freedom flag and for God and country. Now, 797 was kind of interesting. It was dropped a couple days later on the 20th. And he says, stay tuned. Everything has meaning or a purpose. At Jack, getting nervous, phase 2 in the kill box. The 2 is in the kill box, Q. Now that makes me wonder because I believe Friday is the 15th. So the 16th would be a Saturday. 17, Sunday, 18 would be a Monday. So a Monday morning after the Friday, that was the 15th, because this is set for the 20th, and we take 2 days off because Q told us that they're running 2 days ahead of time. So that tells me that Monday the 18th is when the shit's going to hit the fan, at least in the news.
If not before.
Well, if not before, but you know how sometimes they would drop stuff on a Friday night so that the news cycle, it would miss the news cycle and not be reported till Monday. Remember last year they were doing that a lot? Q would start to, yeah. So, I don't believe 798 has anything to do with it. I think that had to do with something that was active last year, but that's just me.
Well, it says they're moving the timetable, so that would make sense since they're 2 days ahead of time.
If it applies, yeah. But some of this stuff has got to, you know, apply to the real world at the time too. So anyway, I didn't go into the rest of the Q post between the 15th and now, but that's something that we should spend some time looking at in the next couple of days and seeing if there isn't anything good in there that we can use the tidbits from.
Very true. We could probably do another YouTube tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, if I could interject real quick, you know, if you notice something on a bunch of these Q posts, you know, they always use he sticks in Bible verses and, you know, go with God, this, that, and the other. That always stuck with me, you know. It's always very interesting because you normally don't hear world leaders talking about prayer, talking about God. You know, somehow, somewhere, it became taboo, and Trump is breaking all of those molds right now. As a matter of fact, every morning his staff lays hands on him and prays for him, which I think is awesome. But the good thing about, the one thing that keeps me going with Trump and not going over the edge of that cliff, it's not Q, it's not Trump's plan, it's not any of that. What has always kept me going was there's a gentleman, he's dead now. He just died last year, I believe, or the year before. His name was Kim Clement, and he was a prophet. And he actually prophesied about Trump by name, prophesied everything that's come to pass so far. I mean, between North Korea, South Korea, impeaching, abortion, I mean, you name it. He hit the nail on the head. I mean, you don't have to squint your eyes. You don't have to listen with one ear. You don't have to tilt your head. He prophesied it. And he's not the only one that did that. There were many prophets that, you know, within the prophetic circles that actually prophesied about this man that's coming. And they actually called him by name. Now granted, this is 10, 15 years before he ever came on the scene. I mean, he was still on the cover of Playboy and still doing his billionaire thing. So that's one of the things that for me personally keeps me going is, you know, apparently not only the generals had a plan, but God had a plan. And I think his plan supersedes all the rest of our plans. And for people to prophesy about him and to call him by name 10 years before he runs, and to tell you line by line everything he's going to do within the first couple of years, it doesn't come by chance. There's some type of divine intervention, you know, in that. And there's just, you know, talk to any Korean vet, any Korean war vet. You know, I spoke to one when my wife went to have her mammogram a couple of weeks ago. He was actually getting in the elevator, and he had his Korean War veteran baseball cap on. And I thanked him for his service, and I said, did you ever think that you would see the Korean Peninsula united? And he stood there and broke down in tears. He said, no, we never, that never even crossed our mind. So for somebody to prophesy that, you're not just pulling a rabbit out of a hat. There's some type of divine intervention. That's all I'm going to interrupt. But that's what keeps me rolling on this little train.
You weren't interrupting, honey. But
I believe he was anointed. There's just no way a man could come into office and do everything that he's done and keep up, have the stamina to keep up with the things that need to be done, and to have the prowess to deal with Pelosi and Schumer. It amazes me every day.
And to be and to have never held public office prior, and to beat Hillary Rodham, the devil herself, Clinton, who has fixed everything since the 70s.
Cheating, crooked Hillary.
Yeah, she was kicked off of the Warren Commission because she was too crooked. And I think she was 21 or 22 back then. And the lead attorney said, no, this chick will lie and steal. No. She got kicked off back then.
I know.
And nothing's changed. How amazing is that?
No, nothing's changed. It's only gotten worse. You know, the more power that they got, the worse. You know, if you listen to the interview of her Secret Service agent, the one that was, he just tells horror stories about the Clintons while they were in the White House. And he tells about the time that when Bill Clinton announced his presidency, you know, he was running for presidency. He said the entire Secret Service had a belly laugh over that because they had been investigating this dude for years. They knew he was as crooked as they come. And they all told each other, there's nothing, he doesn't have a prayer in the world. There is no way in the world this dude is going to get elected. And he did. And this gentleman ended up being her personal, you know, Secret Service agent. So if you ever get a chance, I'll look up his name. But listen to his interview. And I think, don't quote me, I think he's, you know, he died early. But yeah, this guy tells horror stories of Hillary being in the White House, and you know, they said Bill was cool, but you know, Hillary was a nightmare.
Yeah, she's like the demon dog that they say she is.
Yeah, that's sad.
Okay, so I think we're going to close there.
Alrighty.
And we'll be back tomorrow with some more views, I guess. Hopefully, we post something.
Well, hopefully Mad Hatter won't stand us up.
I know. I'm sure that you were told why I stood you up.
You probably fell asleep in your comfy bed.
No, he's got an injury.
No, I actually had to go to the hospital. I've got, they think I've got torn ligaments or something in my elbow. I've got to go back to the doctor tomorrow morning and find out for sure.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's why I was MIA, because I was up there being poked and prodded.
Then they gave him medicine and he saw his bed and saw the Z's coming out of it.
Oh my God. That medicine, I would not make a good drug addict, because that pain medicine makes you nauseous, makes you sleepy, it makes you woo-woo. It's horrible. How these people get hooked, I don't know. I would make a horrible drug addict, because I can't stomach that stuff. So hopefully tomorrow, first thing I'm telling the doctor is, you got to take me off that stuff.
Yeah. And that way his bed won't look so comfortable.
Oh, no. No. I kiss it every time I see it.
Oh, gosh.
All right, you guys. I still have work to do. It's still daylight.